Hello, Diana Winkler here, and I'm here with my friend Chris Burton, Jacome, Flamenco Guitarist extraordinaire. Thanks so much, Chris, for doing this interview with me.
You're quite welcome.
I wanted my friends to meet you and your music and your mission. So my friends who don't know what flamenco is, can you describe it for us?
Flamenco is an art form from the south of Spain attributed to the gypsies of Andalusia. Andalusia is the southernmost province of Spain. And so this is a gypsy art form, and it's a form that includes singing, dancing, and then the accompaniment of both through generally the guitar.
Now, are you a self-taught musician, or did you go to school to learn this?
Both. Yeah, I've done, to learn flamenco has all been through private instruction, and, self-learning as well, but, I do have a formal degree in classical guitar performance, so.
That's awesome. So tell us a little about Lena, your wife, and the dancers. What kind of training is required to be a flamenco dancer?
Ooh, a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work to do any, artistic endeavor well. Flamenco is not something generally, now very recently has been started where you can actually study it in some schools. But generally it's, a family art form and being passed down through generations of families. So as outsiders, both my wife and I are not native Spaniards, not native to the gypsy culture, so we have to travel to that culture and study from these artists to learn the art form.
Wow. So what would you say would be your mission for your music?
My mission for my music is the same as for my life, I guess, is just to touch people, to make people feel a way that is affecting their life in a positive manner, whether that be for a moment. It's wonderful if a song that I've written can create something in a person, a feeling, emit something positive in a person that they're like, wow, I'm just so glad I heard this song at this time, And the same thing with a performance of mine, that I just really aspire to have my performances touch a person, an attendee, where they go, I'm just so happy I was here tonight. It was such a special evening and it took me to a great place that I'll always remember. So.
Yeah, you definitely do that. I've been to many of Chris's concerts and seen how powerful music can be. And you're just a positive person to be around.
I appreciate it.
He's a good friend. Now, what places have you traveled in your music performances? I know you've been all over the world.
For performing, I've done tiny performances in Spain, and even as far away when I had a very fortunate trip that I was able to go to Egypt and did a little performance there as well. But primarily my professional career has taken me throughout North America, in Mexico and Canada, and then all over the United States. So.
Wow, I wish I could go travel a lot more than I do.
Well, I'm sure it's coming.
It's coming. Now, as a songwriter, how do you come up with ideas for your songs?
Sometimes I'll hear stuff in my head, so sometimes melodies and song ideas will come up in my head, but that's rare. Generally, I want to come up with a song, so I just start messing around until I come up with a song. And I say messing around, I'll just sit there and come up with ideas. I'll sit, I'll go, oh, let me think about, I'll try this rhythm or that rhythm or whatever. I'm fortunate enough that I stay very busy with all the work that I do, so a lot of times I have to come up with something. There's a project that I need to make a piece for, and so that will be my impetus to write something, so I generally have lots of opportunities to create new stuff, and it's not like I have a choice to wait until I feel creative. It's like I gotta do it. So
do or die.
I just sit there and do it until I've got something that I'm happy with.
So it's not always you're inspired to to write this particular song. It's a lot of hard work.
I say the inspiration is when it comes together. You know, it's like, oh, I have this one idea, and then all of a sudden I hear this other part, and pretty soon it's done. You know, it's like, it started with one thing where I had to work at it, and then sometimes I'll get to 3/4 of a part, of a piece or whatever, and then I get stuck. And then I just keep on working, and I come up with different ideas, different options, like A, B, C, D, E versions, and then all of a sudden that surprise other version will hit me, and I'm like, oh, that's it. The song is done. So.
Yeah, Chris is working with me on an arrangement for Via Dolorosa, one of the songs that people ask me most to sing, and so it's going to be on the next album I'm putting out. And Chris has done that in a very short time period here in our studio. Now, I know that you're involved with a charity. Tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. I guess I have a very personal link to this charity just because of my own. It's to support cleft lip and palate. And so I was born with that birth defect and had a lot of corrective surgeries, and was blessed to have a family that had the means and the proper insurance, and was able to get all the proper care for me. So I found Smile Train, and they do a great job of helping kids throughout the world that cannot afford these surgeries. And these kids, I mean, there's still a lot more to be done after the surgery.
Oh, sure,
so
sure.
It's great that these kids can just have the surgery, because then they have a chance to do all this other therapy and stuff that's necessary to get them speaking normally, and get them so that they're up to an average level of being able to communicate. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Physically.
exciting that you help so many people.
Well, it's great. It's an incredible organization, and your money is well used. They have a very low, rate of administration costs, so they really try to keep those costs way down. So most of your money goes towards helping these kids around the world directly. And so yeah, I know the importance of a smile, and I love smiling,
Yes.
and so it's really important to me to help kids around the world.
So that's Smile Train.
Yeah, smiletrain.org.
So what other hobbies or interests do you have when you're not playing music?
Oh, you asked that as if you might have an idea as to
do.
what another hobby of mine might be. I guess my other love has always been fitness for me. And when I was a kid, I used to love, watching kung fu and karate movies. The Karate Kid got me started in karate at a young age.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, the Karate Kid, and but I only took it for a couple years, and I just didn't get into it. The teaching at that specific place was not great. So anyway, it was later on that I kind of left martial arts, but later on I found it again. It was through another movie. It was the Born Identity series.
Oh, wow, I love that
the Born
series.
So that it rekindled my passion for the martial arts, and I had to, kind of search, and luckily I found great people, and training at the first place I went to was Miss Diana. Yeah. And so she just started beating me up right away, and so I had to learn some skills.
Yeah, Chris and I know each other from Kung Fu and Jeet Kune Do. We have the same teacher, and we beat each other up for fun. But Chris, he looks very cute and cuddly and sweet, but don't let him fool you. Don't sneak up on him in the parking lot, because he's a killing machine. I'm working on it. I'm still a beginner, but yeah, we have a great time, and
We do.
and so closing up here, what advice would you give to other aspiring musicians out there?
It depends on what they're aspiring to be. they're aspiring to be musicians, I would guess the biggest thing would figure out what you're aspiring to be. If you're aspiring to be a musician, then practice. If you're aspiring to be a performing artist, then start working on getting out there and performing. And if you're aspiring to be a professional musician, meaning you're making your living from music, then there's a lot of other things you have to be practicing besides your music.
All those business skills.
Yeah, so I would say figure out what your definition of an aspiring musician is. But all of it is just time. Kung Fu means work or skill learned through work and time. And so music is a type of Kung Fu. All art, anything is that you want to be good at. You just have to put in the time, it has to be consistent, and you have to be persistent to do it. So that's my 2 cents on that matter.
Great. And so tell them where to find your website and more information about you and your music.
CBJ, so Cat Boy Jack, CBJmusic.com.
And you have Facebook too.
I do. All that is through my website. You can find a link right to my Facebook and all that stuff, and my albums and anything you want to. Not anything you want to find out about me, but you can find a lot about me.
Anything else you can ask me.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm kidding. Well, thank you so much for this interview and
You're quite
your
welcome.
Friendship and your musicianship and awesomeness.
Ole. Thank you,
Ole,
Diana.
that's exactly right, Ole. So this is Diana Winkler signing off.